y'all, what's happening? It is January 20th. It is 5:33 p.m. because I kept unplugging things and knocking things and lighting was off and all the things and sharing. And so I'm live here tonight with Lisa's cat and Lisa as well, I guess. Yeah? Introduce yourself for those who don't know you.
My name is Lisa Mongiardo. I am the marketing coordinator at AutoGate. We manufacture vertical pivot gates, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm always excited to be on the podcast. I really enjoy doing these with you.
Aw, I love having you. I know, like, when I'm trying to figure something out and I can't figure out who to ask, I'm going to ask you. Like, just be prepared for it. So what are we talking about tonight? Do you know?
Yeah, we are going to talk about how to network, either networking with awkward people or networking when you're the awkward one. I was telling David a little bit about this tonight, and I was like, I'm going to be really good at this because usually I'm the one being awkward, so this will be really fun.
I love that. Well, I was sitting there thinking about there are so many events out there, and it's hard to choose just one. And so, like, we want to network with a purpose, and it has a purpose behind it. It's a tool, it's not a personality trait. And so we kind of want to, like, dip our toes in a little bit and give our opinions, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, I went to the chat who helped me kind of line this episode out, and it's saying that networking is not collecting business cards, it's building working relationships. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because when you go to a trade show, you want to touch as many people as possible. That's your goal.
Right. What I have found to be really helpful, and it's an absolute pain because, like you said, when you're at trade shows, you want to have as many conversations as possible, but honest to goodness, take your notes. I mean, these apps for the trade shows have that spot where you can take notes. You can click the microphone, talk at your phone real quick before you start the next conversation. That has been huge so that when I go back to reconnect with people later, I could have a great conversation with somebody. And if I don't remember later what I talked to you about, that connection is
lost.
Gone.
You lost the moment. Yes. So with the FinSpit app, they have the option to scan business cards or scan badges. And then there's a whole note section. What did you talk about? Being thoughtful for 3 minutes after a conversation by writing it down can be a best friend forever. Your best customer, your best product, all the things that you're looking for. But networking can happen anywhere. That's what people don't realize. You don't have to go to networking events. You don't have to go to trade shows. You do it on job sites every day. You do it when you walk through Walmart and you make too long eye connection with somebody and you got to say hi now. It can happen on an elevator. They have that elevator pitch. But let's talk about the elevator pitch a little bit. Do you have an elevator pitch?
I didn't actually until I was at the Fence show because there were so many people in the elevator that were from the Fence show, like even leading up to the event, that I would just start carrying on conversations with people. What are you here for? Are you here for the Fence show? Oh, you are? Well, where are you from? I ended up talking sports with people because the Browns are terrible and I found somebody to commiserate with. So my elevator pitch usually doesn't even start off with really anything to do with what I do. It's, oh, hey, how you doing? What are you here for? Where you from? And then from there, it can kind of organically lead into something else, especially if you're at a trade show. But if you're just out and about, it's a really good intro just to be friendly with people. Sometimes that gets misconstrued, but most of the time, you're safe.
I agree. I find that in an elevator, it can be awkward and uncomfortable. So, like, the most natural thing to go to with a stranger is what you do for work. So, simply, an elevator pitch is, hi, my name's Susan K. Worley. I work for the Fence Workers Association, and we service the perimeter security industry. And yes, I had to practice that. And yes, I have to think about it consciously. And now it just rolls off the tongue. We are in the perimeter security business. Because when you say fencing, people think of the little swords.
Right. If I had to give one, I usually say something about we manufacture automatic vertical pivot gates. And, sometimes people look at me funny and go, like railroad crossing barrier arms, except put a gate on it. And you're like, oh, so that's kind of my go-to at that point of this is what we do.
Oh, your audio just changed. That's wild. Okay, so if anybody's here just now catching up, we're talking about networking. You have your very short elevator pitch, but next is rolling into actual networking, actually connecting with people. The big point here is connecting with 2 to 3, maybe 4 people on a real level, as opposed to touching everybody you come in contact with. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm with Fencing Unlimited Space, and moving on. So you usually start with, how long have you been in the fence industry? And that connects people. That usually brings another question or a question after that. What type of projects are you focusing on right now? What's been keeping you busy this season? I find that when I'm talking to Lisa now, we now have conversations beyond the fence industry that are more targeted in marketing, now that we know what she specializes in and what I want to know. Right?
Right. Usually when I'm carrying on conversations with people, it's like you said, I'm asking what projects they're working on. Occasionally there will be other marketing people there. So I exchange information with them and I talk about, what they're doing to get content. That's become a big one for me because that seems to be really hard to get photos in the field sometimes, especially from a manufacturing standpoint where we're not installing our own things. So I have a lot of conversations with people of like, what do you do? Like, do you run, hey, if you send me pictures, I'll send you a gift card, do like contests and things like that. So I try to seek out those people and find out what they're doing to accomplish even simple tasks like, hey, I need more current pictures. How are you getting those?
I agree. And I find that it takes a little bit of investigating to get to the right questions. But Michaela asked, how do you even ask different questions? Some of these conversations get stagnant. That's a great question to ask. In my opinion, when you're prepping to go to a networking event, whether it's a trade show, the fence cruise, demo days, you need to know why you're going. What is your purpose for going there? What are you looking for? You need to know if you're looking for a new supplier, a new manufacturer, a brand new tool. If you're looking to make lifelong connections, find a new business partner, you're going to have to sit down and work at it. If you want to thoughtfully network, you have to do the legwork. It's just like any project, anything you do at work, any type of project, you gotta do a little research.
Yeah.
Look at all these people in the comments tonight.
That's something that, set goals. If it's strictly a networking event, like if it's not just a trade show, or even if it's, an hour-long session at a trade show where it's networking, go in with like a goal in mind. Like, okay, I want to find one person that relates to maybe this topic that I'm having issues with, or I want to find one person that I think can connect me to a whole slew of other people. Like maybe they're not going to be a customer or somebody that's, directly purchasing, but maybe they are well known and have those connections and you want to associate yourself with them so that when their name comes up, your name isn't far behind. So I think setting at least 1 or 2 goals and having those in mind definitely helps steer conversation as well.
Well, and also recognize that just because you feel awkward, everybody else in the room feels a little awkward too. It doesn't come naturally. Like they said, it's not a personality trait. Somebody's just better at it than others because they've practiced it more. They've written down all the questions. They know their purpose. They're almost on a mission when they're in that that space in at that event, at that trade show, or whatever you know what I mean?
Right.
There's all kinds of people in the comments tonight. But yeah, I think it's really important to know that you aren't the only awkward person there, and everybody has their, I don't know what questions to ask. Yeah, you got to put a little work in. You got to try a little bit. I find that it's almost putting on like my work face. That's how I walk into a lot of networking events, even if it's outside of the fence industry.
That's fair. I will say, shameless plug for the women of FWA. Any of the networking events that I've gone to where women of FWA has been involved, I noticed that people are more relaxed. It's getting to the point where there's definitely new faces and new people, but it's, we all seem to walk in with confidence now. Like, as you do these things more, the awkwardness does go away. So it gets better.
Oh yeah, I remember our first networking event, and I wasn't even there. I was so nervous for them. So yeah, it's something you have to practice, something you have to get good at. How about follow up? I know that's almost actually more important than the networking event itself, which of course you have to have because you need the contacts to walk away with.
Right. You
do a lot of trade shows. How often do you not follow up, and what happens when you don't?
So it's a weird position for me. I say weird loosely. So I am, obviously getting all the contacts from whatever lead app that we're using. And, we send out emails, and we tend to do that within a day or two of the show. But also, I'm not generally the one reaching out specifically, so it's not me making the contact. It would be our sales team. So back to having those notes, that is super important, because sometimes you want to send out a generic email to touch base, but sometimes you've got these really specific things written in there, and that's when I'll either make a note to somebody and say, hey, talk to this person about this, because we're also, that email goes out, but you do need to call. Like, the email will not collect all of those people. You have to call. And there have been a couple times recently where I have been at the shows and face to face with people, and I know I've had those conversations. So generally I will reach out if I know it was somebody that, didn't talk to one of our guys at the show, and I'll reach out personally myself to follow up and say, hey, I'm going to put you in contact with so-and-so. I really enjoyed our conversation that we had. They're going to help you out from here. So, I try my best to do that. In the event that doesn't happen, there's at least the catch-all of the email that goes out after the show. But sometimes that's very impersonal, because like you said, you're trying to catch everybody with that one email. And that's sometimes where, if you've got a really good CRM and you can put those notes in and do a little bit of AI, whether it's like Grok or ChatGPT or something like that, and maybe you break it into 2 sections. Maybe you have, dealers and installers, and maybe you've got, I don't know, some other group that would be in the booth. Like for me, if it's other marketing contacts. So maybe I'm pulling those marketing contacts out instead of sending our normal sales pitch email, and I'm sending them something different. So, it's hard to reach everybody, but it is important. And the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the more you can kind of separate those out and make specific conversations happen with people post-show.
I agree. I also find the more that you do that, you kind of figure out what your spiel is, like how to get to the point less awkwardly, more efficiently. Good question, Yadira. Yadira wants to know what CRN.
That is a great question. We are in the middle of an ERP switchover right now. So we're changing from JobBoss to Epicor, and we're actually launching that like end of February, beginning of March. Right now, our CRM is HubSpot for emails. We used Constant Contact for a lot of years, but we ran into a situation with them, so we no longer use them. But our CRM was a combination of Job Boss and Synergy, and getting Excel sheets downloaded. A good CRM is going to be pricey, but going into this new ERP system, like I said, it's called Epicor. And so it's going to house everything that we're doing, like in the plant, in sales, in marketing, things like that. So
That's cool.
Looking forward to this, that it should be a lot easier. But as far as a true CRM, I'm working on it.
I love that answer. So Yadira, she has used everything is what I'm hearing.
It's that small business, small to medium business. We're not a huge corporation, and we don't have, millions of dollars to throw at something that's going to manage in that manner. There's a combination of third-party sites involved that we use, and it's just kind of, keep track of what we can until we get this new one up and running, and we should have a better grasp with the CRM that's included with this new system.
Good luck. I love the
Thanks.
onboarding process of all those.
Oh, it's glorious. It's going to be fun.
But okay, so I want to just kind of follow up with everything we've talked about so far. Networking is a skill. It is not a personality trait. You need to be intentional with your events. So a little, research in advance. You want to focus on real conversations with 2 to 3 people as opposed to a gang of people, and your follow-up matters. Right?
I will say, and this is something that I struggle with too, the conversations with those 2 to 3 people, it's also okay to end the conversation when it's done and walk away. You don't have to drag it on. I am terrible about this because I will try, and that's probably the most awkward part for me, is like moving on from the conversation. Like I can walk up to most anybody and start a conversation, but it's that ending and walking away. Don't be afraid to do that. And it's okay to just go, it was really great talking to you. I'll see you around, let's meet up later if you're at a trade show, let's grab a cup of coffee or whatever you want to do. If it's a networking event, reach out on LinkedIn, something like that. But, walk away from that conversation. Don't linger. Again, I'm so bad at that. And that's one of the areas where you said those 2 to 3 conversations, and I'm like, yeah, and move on and go to the next one.
Right. No, I get it. I totally get it. Sometimes that's where the most awkward moment is. I agree. Like, you're just both standing there and they're talking at business, and you're just like the vendor, like, I am still here. But anyway, so what's one event what's one event this year, 2026, y'all, whoa, that you're most excited about?
That's tough. Still planning out my year, but I would have to say I am definitely looking forward to the retreat and trying to get my butt there, because I think that's a worthwhile event for me personally, even, outside of business, because it is that connection within the industry, but it's also much more than that. And it's really for me, the networking and being able to, sit with like-minded people and talk about everything that's involved in the businesses and not just one specific thing. That's huge for me, and for us being one location in Berlin Heights, there's not a lot of other businesses close to us. We have a handful, but it's good to meet face to face with people. You can do Zoom calls all day, but sometimes having that connection and sitting and speaking face to face is huge.
Well, if nobody knows what she's talking about the Women of FWA retreat. It's going on in June of this year in Branson, Missouri. We'll have more details very soon. We're actually going to do an entire live on it, get people updated on what's going on. We're finalizing education right now because we want to make sure when we come to the table with everything, it's thoughtful, it's responsible, it brings value to your life and value to the people who want to attend. But I am pretty excited about Demo Days. It'll be our first one. It's in Florida. It is March 26th and 27th. Yes, I had to verify those dates. It's in Asatula, Florida, which is right down the street from Orlando. If you go to finshow.com, you can actually register there. But I'm really excited about it because we're bringing the Fin Show to the East Coast. It's going to be outdoors. It's going to be hands-on. There's going to be a demo arena. People will be able to touch tools and demo tools. People will be able to fish if they want to. Yes. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm excited about fence crews, but everybody knows that like I've been against fence crews since day one. And that is February 26th to March 2nd. And that's leaving out of New Orleans. And we're going to Cozumel. And that's what I'm excited about. Yes. I spent enough time on a ship in the military that I'm like.
I was like, why were you against it? But
yeah, if you want to cruise, Brian, we'll have a cruise. So this will be our second one this year. Or our second one.
Second.
Ever. Annual. Second.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the Women of FWA retreat in June, and then we have the Finch show in October in Las Vegas, as always. So it's going to be a pretty packed year with lots of options. We hope to see you at all of them, but we also understand that you can't make them all. So if you do a little groundwork, figure out what you need, what you're trying to do, give us a call. We can help you out, figure out which event would be best for you. And that's our light touch on networking. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good. You mentioned trying to go to everything. I know that was one of the things on here too. It's hard to choose and look, unemotionally at things that you want to go to versus maybe where you need to be. And I think everybody kind of deals with that, and you really just have to sit down and go, okay, what am I going to get out of this? Not necessarily ROI as far as sales, but maybe it's ROI as far as, what am I learning? What am I going to be able to bring back? Or maybe, a trade show, obviously you're trying to make connections and make sales and do the thing. But, you have to look at where your people are and what they need, what you need, and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Lisa, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. You're always my savior. I appreciate it so much. The new format for Women of FWA Live Q&As are going to be on the first and third Tuesdays of every month. We're going to go every other week, so that we can bring new, fresh content to everybody. So you won't see us next week. The next time you will see us will be the first Tuesday in February. Till then, that's it, you guys. Bye.